around, been up and down this round world that is always turning till someday, or so they say when it, hey, hey, I wanna hear it go on.
Yeah, now it's getting ready to go.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July 11th, 2018 Lebanon Utility Service Board meeting. Before we get started today, I wanted to mention that we did have a working session meeting that was open to the public, of which no decisions were made by the board. This meeting has been properly noticed. We do have all the board members here today. And with that, please rise and join with me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our June 6, 2018 meeting, which is an action item.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Bill to approve the June 6th meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item is Lebanon Public Building Corporation utility appointment. You handling that one, Jeff?
Well, just by way of background, and you will have a secondary item on your agenda dealing with a resolution. As you will recall, or may not recall, a number of years ago when this building was built in collaboration with the city, a building corporation was formed for funding and control purposes of the building. Each entity had a number of representatives to that board. That now needs to be updated and a new appointment needs to be made. Jim Urban is the current appointment, and we need to make a new appointment to the building corporation entity. Jim, there was just also by way of background, I believe the entity has only met a handful of times.
Yeah.
Just out of necessity. The building corporation met last week, and Jim attended, and there was some action taken during that meeting. So we'll get to that in a minute. So the first order of business is for the utility board to appoint a new representative to the building corporation board.
You want me to say anything about this?
Please,
Okay.
please.
Good evening, board. Essentially, this is just a formality. We're using the building corporation structure to do a project on the, we're calling it the Lebanon Gateway Marketplace project, which is out on 32 and 65. Through this project, we're looking where the developer will be the actual person building the road to our standards, but we need to do that from the financing perspective, having that tool through the building corporation. So the building corporation still is active, but with only 2 members, we wanted to make sure we had a full board here tonight. And when it was originally constituted, again, for this building, we thought we would put 2 utility board members on it and then 1 mayoral appointment. So there is currently a mayoral appointment. Of course, Jim is still currently on it, so we're just looking to fill that 1 more vacancy. So it's really just a formality from a board perspective to help us from a legal entity perspective and from a financing standpoint. Any questions for me?
I would, first of all, ask for anybody that would want to volunteer to be on the board.
Let me help you there, actually. I will say this will be meet very, very rarely. It really is, there's up a couple. It's not a standard set meeting time. It's really, Jim can speak to this, it meets once in a blue moon. It meets a couple times through the process, but then it doesn't have any set time or flex, so it can be flexible based on whoever the appointment schedule is. So it's really not and Jeff can talk a little bit about maybe what they do too, but it's really not a very onerous appointment.
And you're not really managing, the responsibilities are, you're not really managing the construction process. It's more of a financing entity and signing off on the completion. I literally think it's met once in, I don't know how long I've been counsel for the utility. I don't believe it ever met during my tenure until recently. So it is a very rare circumstances, the mayor indicated.
Yeah, we just happened to be lucky that Jim was still on the board.
That's exactly
on the
right.
service
Yeah.
board, and I was able to make my appointment, so we had a forum to take any action.
Oh, no.
So,
That's exactly right.
yeah, it really just is we want to make sure the board is full by the time we start going through the financial process. It'll probably meet 1-2 more times max.
Jim gave me a little rundown before the meeting, so I'll accept it if he wants to appoint me, I think.
I'll make a motion.
You know, I was going to ask you, Neil.
Yeah,
Take that. That's fine. That's great. You stepped up to the plate here.
Thanks, Neil.
Yep.
Also, you end up our secretary and treasurer, too.
That's a separate motion, Jim.
Okay, motion by Jim to have Neil serve on that. Seconded by Dan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Abstain.
Motion carried. Thank you very much, Neil. Okay, next item is resolution of Lebanon Public Building Corporation amending articles.
As the mayor indicated, this, and he's given much of the background, this is a cleanup item, and the articles need to be amended and updated consistent with actions that have been taken for financing purposes. And so we have prepared for your consideration Resolution 2018-01, 2018-03. If there aren't any questions consistent with this board's practices, I'll be happy to read through the resolution.
Questions regarding the resolution?
Resolution of the Utility Service Board of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, approving an amendment to the Articles of Incorporation of the Lebanon Public Building Corporation. Whereas the Lebanon Public Building Corporation was established on August 8, 2003, as an Indiana nonprofit corporation operating pursuant to the provisions of the Indiana Nonprofit Act of 1991, as amended, for the purpose of assisting the City of Lebanon with the financing of its municipal facilities in a manner consistent with Indiana Code 36110. Whereas to foster economic development within the city, the corporation desires to assist the city in completing certain economic development projects for the overall health, general welfare, and benefit of the citizens of the city. And whereas Indiana Code 367-1425-3 provides that a not-for-profit corporation organized under Indiana law may lease economic development facilities to the Redevelopment Commission. And whereas in order to assist the city in financing and completing such economic development facilities for the benefit of the citizens of the city, it is now necessary to amend Section 2.02, General Purpose of the corporation's Articles of Incorporation. And whereas on July 2nd, 2018, the corporation adopted a resolution attached here to as Exhibit A, approving the following proposed amendment to Section 2.02 of its articles. Quote, assisting the city together with any of its boards, commissions, special taxing districts, or other instrumentalities with the financing of its local public improvements through the acquisition of existing building or other local improvements in the land upon which such is located, the acquisition of a site or sites appropriate for new buildings or other local public improvements, constructing and equipping suitable buildings or other local public improvements on such sites or sites, renovating or expanding existing buildings or other local public improvements, and leasing the same to the city, collecting the rentals therefore and applying the proceeds thereof in a manner consistent with Indiana Code 367-14 as amended, entirely without profit to the corporation, its officers, directors, corporators, or other than the return of capital actually invested. Close quote. Whereas pursuant to Section 6.04 of the Articles, any amendment to the Articles is subject to approval in writing by majority of the members of the Utility Service Board and the City of Lebanon. And whereas the Utility Service Board desires to approve the proposed amendment to Section 2.02 of the Corporation's Articles. Now therefore be resolved by the Utility Board, the City of Lebanon, as follows. The Utility Service Board finds that the proposed amendment described in this resolution will allow the corporation to assist the city in financing and completing certain economic development projects. 2, the proposed amendment of Section 2.02 of the corporation's articles is hereby approved by majority of the members of the Utility Service Board. Such amendment to be effective upon the adoption of this resolution by the Utility Service Board. Any questions?
Not, I would entertain a motion on that.
I make a motion that we move to approve Resolution 2018-03, Resolution of the Utility Service Board of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, approving an amendment to the Articles of Incorporation of the Lebanon Public Building Corporation.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Neil to approve resolution number 2010-03. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. You earned your money tonight. Next item is Lafayette Avenue Change Order Number 1, listed as an action item. Michael?
Okay, good evening. Yes, this is Lafayette Avenue Change Order 1. It's for some additional work needed to disinfect the water main and to do the final quantity adjustments for this project. The project is completed and all the punch list items have been addressed. This is a good thing. When the previous contract had to be terminated with another contractor, This project connected the pipes on both sides of the bridge because of some permitting issues with the railroad. So this is, now the water main is connected. The area around the railroad had been restored and actually spruced up a little bit, aside from the 1916 bridge. But that is the reason for the change order is extra effort to disinfect. So I'm asking for approval for the board on that. Amount of $7,235.65.
Sorry, you may have said, but the project's done now?
Yes, it is
Okay.
completed.
Okay. Any questions from board members or comments? I would entertain a motion on change order.
I move to approve Merit Contracting's change order number 1 for a not-to-exceed amount of $7,235.65 for additional work done to disinfect the water main and make final adjustments for the Lafayette Avenue project, authorizing General Manager Whitman signing all pertinent documents.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Jim to approve the change order for Merit Contracting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item is East Street Project Change Order Number 4.
Yes,
Michael?
this is for additional work related to undercutting the roadway, a service tie-in for the library, and pavement restoration over the trench for the water main on North Street. These were unforeseen conditions that needed to be addressed. So I'm asking the board to approve change order number 4 in the amount of $77,781.77 and authorize general manager to sign all pertinent documents.
That's completed as well, right, Michael? Or
I'm going to defer to Josh Spencer because I believe with this contract, it might be a little bit more involved of a question.
Good evening. The East Street project has met substantial completion. They're working on the punch list items now. I think through the contract, they have 90 days to complete all the punch list items. So that there will be some additional costs towards the end of the project for curb on Busby Street. That was a bid alternate. I think we had $6,600 allotted to replace, piecemeal the curb on that road. Kevin Krulik worked with Calumet to do an extruded curb for the entire length of the road. And I think it's going to add a little additional cost to the project. But I do believe where we stand now, we had a savings of $28,000 to the utility side of the contract. So they're still working through the punch list items, but again, they have 90 days to complete it.
So this original contract price here is for everything, the city side plus utilities,
I do believe so.
the 1,000,000.
The 1,000,000
62,994.
Yeah, I do believe so. Yeah. So the Lebanon Utility Service Board, from what Michael's showing me, is 1.188 million, so almost 1.2, 1,188,021 cents, or $21.05 is what their Lebanon Utility Service Board's contribution will be for this.
So when I add these change orders up, it ends up being about 11.8% of the original contract amount, so.
The way I'm looking, our original okay, so, yes.
Which is kind of high when you look at overruns.
This was-
but,
Yeah.
It is high.
It is. Do we know what happened?
From what I understand, okay, the major change order is coming from the undercuts, which was the $77,000. That's due to when they began removing the existing roadway and excavating for the water main, they found out that the soils were unsuitable to reconstruct the road on those soils. So they went through and over excavated and replaced it with, I do believe, 18 inches of compacted aggregate. So that's where your additional $77,000 is on that. Again, that was phase, I want to say from Meridian, or from, what is it, the Uland up to
The bridge.
the bridge, which was right prior to my employment, but from discussions and meetings, that's where your major overrun is at on this contract. There was other options of lime stabilization and things like that, but from what I learned is that the city was not in favor of doing lime stabilization and or any additional types of subgrade treatment, so they went with this route. Typically, I feel it's a little more expensive, but it was an item that we were kind of forced our hands on, so.
Okay.
So do
that
we have money for this?
As of right now, I do believe that we're still under our original bid item. From the change orders that I have seen, we were still in credit of $28,000 to the contract with this change order from what CHA provided
Okay.
us.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
It should be in here.
So this wasn't the original contract amount? Is that what you're saying? Or?
And from what I'm seeing on here is the approved budget was $1,062,000.
Right.
Right, so that's where we're at, which I'm getting in an area that I'm not real sure on, because this was bid as one, that it was supposed to be 2 phases from what I understood, and then they extended all the way up to Washington Street, correct? So they ended up taking that project that was 2 phases, combined it into one, so I'm not sure if that's where the additional funding went from 162 to 1.18. Okay, so there's 3 other change orders, so I don't.
Some of this was done prior to Josh coming on board. I was trying to get Josh to answer the items particular to the items that that he has been involved with. In regards to the undercutting, which was the substantial amount of effort, we did not include this. The reason why there's such a lag between time here was that when the utilities bid this project, it was bid with the Stormwater Board and the Lebanon Utility Service Board. And so what happened is that as that project was moving forward last year, and they were adding these additional costs because of the way that they needed to shore up the road because of the unsuitable soils, they ended up having to, modifying, I guess, the Stormwater Service Board is no longer, and it moved into the Board of Works, and because when that happened, these things lagged along. But those are actual costs that were expensed, were in the project, and that is, those costs were definitely shared with the utilities and the Board of Works now.
So the city, Josh, if I'm following your explanation, the city made or somebody from the city approved this remedy?
Yes.
The original contract.
Okay.
First
That's
change
it.
order is 47.
I wish I had a spreadsheet, because
Because it wasn't,
That added.
it's their
that's
road.
fine, we're good.
I don't think so.
Soils unsuitable, they had to add to it.
It didn't seem like the math's adding up on,
No, it didn't.
when you look at the backside of the change order form itself, the original contract price for utilities is $1,062,994.
Okay,
And then we had our first change order, which must have been 47,245.28. Does-
It does that.
It comes up to the 110.
That does
I'm
come
not-
up.
Yeah, that comes
Okay,
up
so never
correctly.
mind,
It
that
adds
comes up right. Okay, never mind, sorry, my mistake.
And just to be clear, so this change order is a result of an unknown complication
Right.
at the time of bidding?
Absolutely. They didn't know the condition of the soils for that section of East Street from the bridge up to Hewlin Drive. And so when they encountered the unsuitable soils, they had to have those removed. Those additional backfill was
So
placed.
we had a water main trench in the road,
Right.
which was so wide, I don't know how wide it may have been, but is this subgrade treatment just over that trench, or is it for
no,
the
it's the
entire
entire
width
length
of
of
the
the
pavement?
pavement, from what I would understand, yes.
The way this work the way it worked was this, is that 1/3 of the cost was split between the city proper, the storm board, and the utility service board for restoration along the East Street project. And so that was how this was set up prior to me coming on board, when Bob Waples and at that time Dick Robertson set up how they were going to fund this East Street project. So the way that this change order came into place with those additional funds to take care of the undercutting, it was split by 1/3 by those three entities. And so that's how that happened.
Nice.
Like I said, when it's been a long time from the incurrence of the expense to now, but that's how it came up.
No, it's more than that.
Okay. Any other questions from board members?
I want to support what you're saying in that there've been a lot of moving parts. It's confusing, but, it was supposed to be a two-phase project.
Correct.
It wasn't.
Correct.
And the Stormwater Board was in place. They made decisions. They're not now. It was a different mayoral administration. The only thing, I wish we'd had a say in it. That would have been nice. But I don't know that, who do you point your finger at on that, moving forward?
Yeah, well, and when Kevin and I at that time were,
Okay.
this was before Josh.
So you were aware?
So we were aware of it.
Okay.
And so we, in defense of the process, but you're right, there's a lot of people involved.
That's
And
right.
If I go back through this project and say, wow, the history, because Josh comes on board and he said, so you want me to get involved in East Street? Well, it's already going. So are we sure you want me to get involved in East Street? But the good news is that the project is wrapping up. It looks very nice.
It does.
The overall product as well, our water line's in there. We've got a very redundant system there. It's a good thing for the community. So, but I will say, I apologize. The paperwork's a tough thing to get through. I apologize for that.
Sounds like, though, we're still in a little bit under what we thought, right?
Yeah,
originally?
exactly.
Yeah, that's not, I wish I would have had the spreadsheet that CHA sent us, because that's where I have some correspondence back and forth with them about where we stand on the project, and I know they said we was 28,000 and some odd change still to the good on credit on our side of the project.
So we should be seeing a large negative change order
Well,
coming
that's-
down the pike to bring it down below that original contract.
Should be seen, yeah.
Right, I mean, I'll have to
Just
go
saying.
through and find out. There's some parts here that probably I don't really understand where I see where the original contract and where now the 1.18. I mean, there's some items in there when the contract was written that I probably haven't read into to see if there was other changes that were added or if there's deducts that we have not seen yet come from CHA.
So let me ask a quick question, and it sounds like we are generally speaking on good ground here. We believe the work was completed, ought to be paid for, but from an accounting standpoint, how are we on timing of this? Is this something that you guys want to understand a little bit better relative to the full project, or does this need to be approved? And then my concern is I don't want to approve something, pay it, and then if there's a problem, that we try to undo it.
Yeah.
Where are you guys on timing of needing to have this paid?
There's been quite a bit of delays in the process because of a transition in Stormwater Board to Board of Works. And as far as the numbers, the numbers do add up, and the costs are there. They match what is shown on the change orders. What's left, the question I think that has come up is, where exactly do we fit in the budgets, et cetera? What I am saying is on the budgets, is that because the way this project is broken up over the period of several years, and what has happened is those budgets have not matched. You bid the project in 1 year after you already have your budget approved, and that's kind of the story.
I have one other thing that, I think the numbers are correct. we do have 2 bid alternates that were approved, so I don't know if that number was included in is it? That's
Yeah, and that's,
okay,
there
'cause
was 2 streets added. There
the
was
Busby and North Street
the
was
Busby
added.
North and also
Woodland.
Woodland, yeah.
That's-
So-
We believe it's fine.
So there will be, I assume it was a unit price contract, so will there eventually be a final quantity adjustment change order that comes to us?
I will request one, so.
Yes.
Is that what this is?
No, this is not,
No.
no.
Because usually there's a spreadsheet
At
attached.
the very end, and that's
Yeah.
what I thought I
Yeah,
thought you were saying
that's where I'm,
just was not included in the board packet.
see this is where I was.
Yeah.
It seems like these numbers are all appropriate, and again, work's done. It's the back accounting that we don't have the information on.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get
And,
get
yeah,
that.
Be nice to
If
see
the
that,
project's
right.
fairly
Yeah.
complete, they should be
we should be
finishing
seeing-
up that
correct. I
final
think
quantity
the-
adjustment.
Yeah, the final thing was getting the 2 bid alternates paved and done, which would have been Busby and North, and those 2 should be wrapping up now. They were not part of the schedule or time framing that was set for East Street due to they were bid alternates, so they actually got additional time to complete those projects.
Just a thought.
So I guess with that, I would suggest if we want to go ahead and approve this, that we ask for the accounting for this project by the next meeting.
Thanks.
That stipulation, fair?
For the record, I'd really prefer to see the map
Before?
first, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's not a shot at anybody. I understand the confusion, I really do, but it is, at the end of the day, $77,000.
Yeah, it's a big number.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to support that decision.
Yeah.
And with facts. And right now, our facts, I think our numbers are accurate, but we can't support them.
We'll be more than happy to do that.
Okay.
And want you to feel comfortable with any decision
Oh,
you make
yeah,
as a
yeah.
board, so we'll be more than happy to do that.
No, the other option.
Michael,
It's
can you get,
it's been a long, drawn-out project.
Oh, I'm
so-
sure, yeah.
So we understand.
can you get that by the next meeting?
Is that 2 weeks from today?
2 weeks from today, I tell you,
I'm not gonna make any promises, but what I'll do is tomorrow I'll email Gary Miller with the CHA and ask him
Okay.
where he's at to get us our
You wanna
final
do 2?
numbers. I mean,
let's do 2 meetings from this meeting. How's that sound?
Yeah, I mean, if it's ready, it's ready. If it's not,
Yeah,
we'll see.
that's right.
Right, continue it to the next agenda,
Yeah.
and if it's ready, great, then then if it's not, you just continue it before and bounce it to the next one.
Okay,
What I'd suggest.
all right.
All right, so I'd move that we table item 7.
Second.
You can do it.
Motion made by Neil, second by
Jim.
Jim, to table this for continuance at the next board meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, supplemental agreement, water plant improvements program. Michael?
All right. So this is the supplemental to add additional engineering services related to the Sugar Creek well line loop. As you recall, that we have a project ongoing right now. It's the electrical improvements inside the fence at Sugar Creek, which is updating the electrical components that were installed 40 years ago. So that project is underway. When it is done, there'll be a new generator, a new electrical connection to the Boone RMC, and new electrical equipment inside that building, along with a feed that goes out to our well fields. The component that is already, that we have an agreement already with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert, is the electrical design and managing the guaranteed savings project down to the well fields and making connections to each one of those wells. What we have now is, as the board approved the water CIP, capital improvement plan, there was a water well line loop down to the well field that we wanted to make. Because of the nature of this project being so similar to the other project, which is the electrical connection to the well field, we want to merge these together and save inconvenience and save money because we're going to put two projects together. So that is the reason behind this request, and it is for we're asking the board to approve the supplemental agreement for Butler, Fairman, and Seifert in the amount of $105,200 and authorize general manager to sign all pertinent documents. Any questions?
Questions or comments? Okay. Entertain a motion then.
I move to approve the supplemental agreement with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert for an amount of not to exceed $105,200 to add additional engineering services for Sugar Creek well line loop and authorizing general manager to sign on behalf of the board for this project.
Second.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Neil to approve the supplemental agreement with Butler, Fairman, Seifert for the water plant improvement program. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Michael. Next item is Employee Advancement Program, listed as an action item. Trace Bowles?
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of things I really like to talk about. I really like public utilities, but I really like our employees and the work that they do. And what we're doing is we're putting together a program so that we can actually take our employees and watch them grow from the time they hit the door till their retirement. And I'm going to tell you just a little bit about this program. Over the last year, we've developed a detailed plan to be able to place and grade each employee from entry-level position through fully trained and then into retirement. Not only does this plan include technical staff, such as line workers and water and wastewater operations, but it also includes administrative staff as well. This has been a huge effort for not just operations, but also for finance and for the departments, because they've had to put together a lot of information to even get this far. We believe that this program will help foster employee attraction, satisfaction, and retention. So here's the program. We would have key performance evaluations. Those key performance evaluations would tell us exactly where every employee stands within their department and within their job classification. As they're graded, what happens is you give them a score, and then that score puts them at a level. And that level actually has a dollar figure to it. It includes certifications, it includes training, it includes on-the-job training, it includes skill tests that they have to be able to do the skills that they say they can do. And until you get all of the skills done for your level, you cannot advance. So it really is a good program to let everybody know, oh, okay, I've got to get this one more thing, and then I can advance. Along with that, there's a performance pay structure. That performance pay structure is really laid out so that we can pay our employees properly. The survey that was done last time through APPA, AWWA is very good. The survey that we did this last time, almost every one of the job classifications were actually within the pay rate or the pay scales, which means that we don't really have to adjust pays at all. It's a matter of this program being put in place so everybody knows where they stand. I think the beauty of this is that you can, from someone who doesn't know anything when they're coming in, they can turn around and they can see, hey, I'm going to be a wastewater treatment plant operator. I know how much I make day one. And then there's a list of things that they have to do to get to level 1. You know, because they're entry level. Get to level 1, they have certain things that they have to do. They don't have certifications yet, but there's certain things they have to do, a certain amount of time they have to be here. Because it's going to take approximately a year, you know, at every level, because there's a lot of work to do here, and there's a lot to learn. And so this program allows us to incentivize our employees and to step through a program just like the linemen do, just like our metermen do. We actually will put together a program for everyone. What we want to do is we want to attract and retain our employees. And I think this is a really good way to do that. The last thing I'll say is that our on-call pay, right now, our on-call pay is $125 a week. And we have a 1-hour minimum call-out time. In our surrounding area, the average is more than $250 a week. And so we're asking that we approve $250 a week, which is just below the average, and remain at the 1-hour minimum call-out because our area is pretty small. The other thing I'd like to ask for is that the meter technicians actually be on that on-call list. They get called out at night a lot, and I think it's only fair that they're put on that same list. What we'd like to roll this out. If it's approved, we'd like to roll this out in the next quarter. It's going to take us time to make sure everybody's graded properly. It's a lot of work, but it'll be worth it. So what we're asking for is that by September 30th, we can completely roll this out and have everybody graded and ready to be put into the system. And then from that point, it's all automatic, where once you get to the next level, you are graded, you're tested, and if you make it, you go on to the next level and therefore receive the next pay level. I would take any questions you might have.
Questions for Trace? I guess I have one.
Yeah.
This wage scale is for 2018, so I assume from year to year, you would add a cost of living increase or something in those
Yes.
ranges to bump up those ranges?
Exactly right.
Okay.
About every 3 years, we'd like to go through this process to make sure that everything's all balanced up. But annually, rather than going through and deciding what raises need to be, if we can just go to a cost of living increase, which is CPI-U-A, which is urban all, and not have it be seasonalized, then we get a true value of what our inflation was. And we need to do that actually from June to June, meaning that you get 12 months, but because of when we have to do this, we're going to go, like if we were going to raise in January, we would go back to June and go to the previous June to be able to get that spelled out. And those right now, those CPIs are running anywhere between 1 to 1.75% annually right now.
Okay.
Great question. Thanks for asking that.
Other questions from board members or comments?
I really like the idea and the work that you guys have done on this, is set standards that they can work to and standards that we live to
Yes.
as a board. So I mean, it gives everybody a better sense of what the playing field looks like.
Yep.
So thanks for all the work that you've done on that.
Yes.
Well, you're welcome. And Sandra, I mean, she has been such a help to me with this as well. And
Good.
And the managers too. It's been a lot of work, but it's good. It's really good. And thank you.
So I would move to approve the Employment Advancement Program and the on-call pay rates as presented to become effective September 30th, 2018.
Second that.
Motion made by Dan, seconded by Jim to approve the Employee Advancement Program. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trace. Next item is approval of claims.
Make a motion, we approve the claims.
Second.
Motion made by Neil, seconded by Bill to approve the claims. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Any other business from board members? Any comments or questions?
I have one comment, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Just by way of a board update, we are looking like we are going to auction the residence at 501 East Noble Street on August 9th. Our appraisals are due back any time, and that will work towards that process.
Will that take place at the residence that's for
I
sale?
believe so. I
Okay,
believe so.
okay.
They will schedule some walkthroughs.
Okay.
We will provide our inspection, and the residence is being sold as is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, with that, I would open it up for the opportunity for public comment. Don?
Thank you, Gary. I'd like to add one thing. I didn't realize that the change order for the Lafayette Avenue project was on the agenda tonight. Want to take an opportunity to compliment Michael and Josh. That particular project, a segment of that line had been laid for some time period well before the second phase. There was a great deal of difficulty to get the line disinfected. Your staff members came up with the idea of pigging the line, which is unconventional for a water main, but using that pigging technology saved a significant amount of money and time on the disinfection of that project. When I heard that the $7,000 number was mentioned here tonight, what your staff members did, that would have approached a six-figure number if that line would not have been able to been disinfected to replace it. So they did a wonderful job on that. I just thought I would chime in on that and make you all aware of that change order could have been much worse than what it was. They saved a lot of money with that idea. So give kudos to those two.
Awesome.
Good to hear. Thank you,
Thank you,
John.
guys.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else in public, any comments? Seeing none, our next board meeting date is July 25th and scheduled for 5 p.m. And if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Jim, seconded by Neil to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much and have a good evening.